All right, welcome back to another episode of Small Business Chronicles. I am your co-host Brian Stone, and this show is all about solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, small businesses of all sizes, and it's really become the Swiss Army knife of podcast shows within the business space. And I'm super excited because our guest today is a solopreneur herself, and that doesn't mean she has a small, unscaled business. Quite the opposite. We're actually going to jump into that today. So I'm sitting down with Tanya Brody. She's an email marketing expert, and she is also a copywriting consultant, along with a consultant for email marketing. She's been in the business for over a decade, and I know that she has a wealth of experience that would apply to solopreneurs and entrepreneurs just like yourself, those of you that are out there listening, because she has you as her primary client. So I'm excited to have the conversation. We're gonna have a lot of discussion about some strategies that can actually work at businesses of all scale. So we'll jump right in. Tanya, how are you today?
I'm good. Thank you so much. It's lovely to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And we were talking a little bit offline about scalability, and as I kind of mentioned in the intro, you're a solopreneur and have been, but that doesn't mean that you haven't had a ton of growth over the decade that you've been in
Absolutely.
business.
Absolutely. And I think that's something that people think about is they think if you're just one person, you have to keep everything small. But the truth is you can make things as small or as large as you want to until the point where, let's be fair, you do have to sleep. And that's when you have to start bringing people in. But there are lots of ways you can manage everything yourself and do it all yourself because there are so many amazing tools out there these days that let you do it.
Well, and as a consultant, you are also leveraging the time of the clients that you serve, right? So
Yeah.
it's not just you doing all of the work. You may propose the work and consult and have a business that's a larger size that's still doing a lot of the work for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So for instance, I've got a client right now who, there's like over 100 people in that organization. So I go in and they're like, okay, so Tanya, we need you to manage this project and write all the copy. I'm like, okay, I can handle the copy. I need this from the web team. I need this from the development team. I need this from the video team. And, we put it all together and we work collaboratively. And it's really nice because it means that I don't have to go source all of those things. Now, I can do that too, depending on the client, because I have those resources. But when I'm coming into a full team, it's really nice to just be able to go, this is what I need. And they go, okay. And as a solopreneur, when I say I have those resources, I've had people I've worked with in the past, but like we're not the team. So, you can work with people externally, but you don't have to employ them per se. You can have just people you contact regularly because okay, I need a designer who could do this. Or I need a videographer who has these capabilities. And that's a whole different way of scaling is you just have a bunch of people that like, and trust who will get the job done for your client or for your company. And it's not like you have to, like pay benefits and put out W-2s every year. So
Well, and let's be honest, sometimes the outcome of the work is better too,
yes.
because say the marketing space, for example, say you need, and you gave this example, videographer, photographer, you may have 3 or 4 times a year where that comes up as a, say, digital marketing agency, if you're in that industry. And yes, you want the quality to be really good, but you don't have enough of those particular needs like you do your bread and butter services to really, need to have a full-time employee. So even if you did bring somebody on, the quality may not be as good as hiring that third-party expert, and that's what they do every single day, right?
Well, that and sometimes, depending on who you're working with, they can say, oh my gosh, I just did this project for this other company and we did X. And I think if we adapt this technique or this idea or this, this flow to your situation, they're bringing something extra to the table from their prior experience with other companies. Now, of course, everyone has their non-disclosure agreements, but concepts and modifying them to fit your company are something that people do all the time. I do it with my clients. I'm like, okay, so I just did a campaign where we did this, this, and this for this other client. And I think that these 4 things are really applicable to your situation. And I'm not giving anything away from that prior client. I'm not, spilling their secret sauce or sharing any of their secrets. But what I'm doing is bringing my experience as a professional, as a solopreneur and a freelancer to bear on someone else's situation, which is just another benefit of working with a flexible team.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. In flexibility, you're exactly right. That's huge, because if you are a solopreneur, that becomes a challenge, right? I mean, there's only one Tanya,
Yes.
and I'm sure that your clients absolutely adore the work that you do, and so sometimes there's not enough you to go around, so you have to leverage some of that out in a way that you can still trust with the outcome.
Right. And, some of that, in my case comes to maybe they have 3 other copywriters, but they're like, would you please just look this over before we publish it?
Sure.
Which is smart, both on their part and on mine, because we all want quality information going out. And then I am giving feedback to those other copywriters. So they're improving their work, which means the whole team is benefiting. So,
yeah,
it
I love
really,
the connectivity.
it's a win-win. It's a win-win.
Win. It's more than 2. It's a
Right.
win for you, win for the team member, win for the client. Yeah,
Exactly.
all of that stuff. So, well, look, I wanted to dig into email a little bit because
Absolutely.
obviously this is your specialty. You love it, and a lot of people think it's a dinosaur. Right. A lot of people think that social media is the way to go and email is not where you connect to people. And yet we still capture emails every day. And that's a huge part about any business's database. And also, just a little plug out there, there's no do not email list. There's an unsubscribe, but you don't have to worry about a fine like you do with a phone, right? I know that I deal with that in the real estate industry. The first call could be thousands of dollars if it's the wrong person on the phone in my industry. And with an email, at least you're giving that opt out. But tell me a little bit about how you see email in business today. What role does it play with business owners?
So first of all, email marketing has a return on investment of, I think the most recent figure I saw was 4,400%, which basically means for every dollar you put into your email marketing, you can earn up to 44 more. That's huge. That is more than I think just about every other marketing channel out there, but you have to use it right. So we all go out there and we collect email addresses. And if your business is not collecting email addresses, please do that. Seriously. It is the best way to get directly in contact with your customers, with your potential customers. And the reason I recommend that is social media is great. Social media is a good place to bring people in, but social media is like having a conversation at a club on a crowded dance floor where you can't hear a blessed thing anyone else is saying because there's so much going on.
That is such a good analogy.
And email marketing, email is more like someone inviting you into their living room for a cup of tea and a chat. It's a direct conversation.
Without the noise, right?
Without the noise, without the distractions. And the other thing is when someone opts into your system, they are literally giving you permission to email them, as opposed to social media where you have to hope they catch your eye. They're like, you're over here going, hey. And they're like, yeah, you're okay. Oh, wait, there's something over here. So it's so easy for people to get distracted on social media. The pop-up that says, oh, so-and-so commented on your cat photo or whatever it is, and it's like, but email, someone is actually looking at their inbox. They've opened your email. They're reading it. They're focusing on you. They're focusing on what you have to say. They're focusing on the value you have to give. And that's what you want. That's how you actually build a relationship with your subscribers so that they buy what it is you're selling, which is, let's face it, the name of the game of having the email list. That's how you get that $44 for every dollar you put in.
Well, and 2.5 times return on investment is the absolute baseline that people should be seeking on any kind of marketing efforts. 4x is great. 10x is like, oh yeah, you're really doing something good. 44x is ridiculous. I mean, it's absolutely absurd that more businesses aren't utilizing this. I mean, why do you think that it's not being utilized with that kind of return as much as it should be compared to other mediums that are maybe more front and center?
Because, to be completely honest, people think it takes more effort. You actually do have to nurture those customers. You can't just get someone an email address and then like either start bombarding them with buy my stuff emails, or just assume that you can email them every time you have a sale, whether that's like once a month or once a year or what have you, and assume that they'll remember who you are, why they may have actually given you permission to email them, and whether they still want your thing.
But you liken it to a conversation, and I think a lot of the ones that I receive are very one way, right? Where social is, it feels a little more two-way, but there's not an order of operations. It's not sequential. It's everything all at once, right? So how do you create that conversation within your email marketing?
So the first thing that I recommend is when you do your lead generation funnel and you have someone opt in, when you're sending them your lead magnet, opt-in, bribe, freebie, whatever it is you call them, that coupon code, whoever it is, however you're giving something in exchange for an email address, that you have a full welcome sequence, not just that single email that says, hi, here's your free thing. That email should say, here's your free thing. I'm going to keep contacting you over the next few days to let you know who I am and why I do what I do. And then, your email should, the next email should be, here's who we are and here's what we do. This is why we do it. Here's some fun, weird facts about us. In my email, I mentioned my welcome email. I mentioned the fact that I have cats. I am a total science fiction geek, and I used to play at Renaissance festivals all over the country. So some things like, just like if you were going on a coffee date with someone, you would tell them a little bit about yourself. Well, you should be telling your prospective customers a little bit about you, because people buy from people they know, like, and trust. It's that simple.
Well, and you're building trust by making those deposits, right? We talked a little bit offline, right? I've always likened it to the analogy of, deposits and withdrawals. And I don't love this analogy because it kind of makes it sound like your customer is an ATM, and that's not really kind of the intent we're trying to say. But if you only ever try and make withdrawals, eventually you're going to be drawing on a zero balance, and there's nothing that's going to be there. If you're coming with a handout and never actually pouring in to that relationship, it's a really ridiculous expectation to have, to expect people to transact with you if you don't add value.
Yeah, exactly. I liken it to, you get two texts, right? One is from the person that you really like, you have regular conversations with, they're a good friend. They come help you out when you need to move, or when you need help in the yard, or when whatever. You help each other out. You have an actual working relationship. And the other text is from that person you only hear from when they need something. They need money. They need help moving, but they're never there for you. They just want to sit there and complain about something in their own life, and they don't actually care about anything going on in yours. Which text are you actually going to answer? Let's face it.
Obviously, the one that you have a relationship with. Obviously,
you're going to go spend time with that person. This other person, you're going to be like, whatever do I have to deal with you? And in terms of email, that looks like, I'm going to open this email because this person delivers something to me that I am interested in. I get value from these emails. I want to read what this person has to say. And who are you and why are you in my inbox? Or, oh God, them again. delete, or worse yet, spam. And when they hit the spam button, that dings your sender reputation, which the more that happens, the more the ISPs, the internet service providers like Gmail, Yahoo, Bluehost, all of those people who take in the emails go, I'm seeing a lot of spam marks on this person's email address on their domain. I don't think we should let their emails through anymore. And apparently no one wants to hear from them. And the more that happens, the worse your sender reputation gets. And I am completely serious when I say eventually it will reach the point where you can't email your mother, like our regular email. It will end up in her spam folder because the ISPs see this and they're just going off of algorithms. There is no one there going, oh yeah, that's just an email to her mother. She'll be fine. It is a collective score, basically. And I have actually had this happen to people where they're like, all of my emails to my friends or my family were going into their spam folders. And I said, have you checked your sender reputation lately? And they're like, oh, no. And they go check it and they're like, it's in the tank. I'm like, let's fix that. Because it's a big deal.
You actually can fix that? You don't have to just start fresh?
It takes a lot of work. Most people, that's what they do is they start fresh. They new domain name, new email list, but then you've lost a ton of money that you put a lot of work into. It's time, effort, people, and how do you get those people who genuinely are interested in hearing from you over into that new system without spending a ton more money? So if you take the time to fix the system and you send out those 4 or 5 emails going, oh my God, you guys, I'm so sorry. Apparently I've been ending up in your spam folder. Here's why. I've fixed it. Please open this email again. You won't get everyone back, but you'll get a lot of people back.
You can build your reputation back up.
You can rebuild your reputation by getting people to open the email. Another simple tip for you, make sure you include whitelisting instructions in this welcome sequence. Have just like a page on your website that gives whitelisting instructions for a whole bunch of different systems. And that way you're less, when I say to my email service provider, or my ISP, which is, like Apple Mail, I actually want to hear from Brian. He's a good guy. I like him. Then it goes, oh, okay, I'll let those through. So that instantly gets you opening those emails. That's the other reason to send your lead magnet in an email, meaning with a button that says download here, as opposed to giving it to them as soon as they hit the thank you page, because that makes them open the email. Which
hadn't ever thought about that, Tanya.
Yeah.
That never connected.
Yeah, because if they open the email, then the ISPs goes, oh, they want to hear from her.
Oh, okay. These like each other. Yeah. So
these two play well together. Let's let them continue to play well together. So this is all weird little technical stuff that you can do in 3 to 4 emails in a welcome sequence. You can really just start building that relationship. But then you have to continue to build that relationship. You can't just go, oh, okay, you got my 4 emails. We're good. I can sell you stuff whenever I want to, whether that's every single day or once a week, once a month, once a year. You have to keep that relationship going. And that's where a lot of, especially small business owners who are doing everything themselves are like, I actually have to sit down and write something every single week. I have no idea what to say. None. Clueless. And that's where they get hung up. And it's hard. If you are stuck, there's nothing worse. And I say this as a copywriter, there's nothing worse than sitting here staring at a blank screen going, no words. I have no idea what to write. I don't even know what sounds intelligent. Help.
Well, just an FYI, they do make a bottle of wine that's called writer's block.
Writer's tears. They make a really good whiskey, by the way, called Writer's Tears.
Ooh, yes. Okay. See, now you're speaking my language, Tanya.
There you go.
I'll have to, my wife has a writer's block. I'll have to get the tears. Yeah.
All right. Well, then your liquor cabinet will be fully stocked.
We're
But,
covered. Yeah.
yeah, but it's important to think about how you build that relationship. And when people go, I don't even know what to write about, the first thing I say is, what are the things your customers ask? When someone actually comes to you and goes, I want to buy the thing, here are my questions. What are those questions? Look, it's an email. Answer one of those questions in every email. You've got a whole bunch of emails. That's
Well,
easy.
and I think every business owner, whether they realize it or not, well, I don't think I know every business owner, whether they realize it or not, is a content creator, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's what we do. That's what marketing is. But I think some people hear that or have that acknowledgement, and you're right. They lock up. They're like, I don't have time. I'm not a creative person. That's not my expertise. But look, with a 44x return, there is plenty of room to hire a consultant. There is plenty of room if you don't know how to approach it to use experts within the field like yourself that can actually help build out those systems that you can leverage their knowledge. So I'd rather, on a 44x return, I'd rather pay consulting fees on that than on, a plethora of other things that I have paid consulting fees on that have not gotten me the same return, for sure.
Oh my goodness. Yes. And here's the other thing is people think as soon as they hear marketing, they think, oh my God, I have to sell stuff. I don't know how to sell stuff. How do I even sell what I do? And they freak out. The truth is, if you or I or their neighbor starts asking them, so what do you do? How does that work? They start talking and talking and talking, and you can see their passion and you can understand what it is that they do. And suddenly you're like, are you recording this? Because that's all really, really good marketing content. In fact, I challenge anyone who sits there going, I don't know how to sell, to get someone, just sit down with someone and have them ask, what is it that you do? And just start asking those questions. Start asking questions like, okay, so how does that work? Okay, so why does this help me as someone using it? And as soon as you get that person talking, again, hit that record button because that right there, just get a transcript of that, stick it into Otter AI or whatever transcript service you want to use. And that it's emails, it's landing page copy, it's social media copy, it's any number of things because obviously you should clean it up a little bit.
Sure.
But it's coming straight from your heart as the business owner.
Well, we capture transcript on our podcast, and I've had to remind people internally, and they're like, well, what do we need for the show? Like, guys, it's right there. It's already there. You will never get any content that's better, in my opinion, than a conversation with a business owner that is passionate about what they do, talking about what they do. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. And
I think we overcomplicate it, though.
We do because it's scary because you think marketing, and then you go budget, and suddenly it costs you money. And it costs you time, both of which are true, but only to the extent that you want them to be. For an example, I'm sitting here on a podcast with you. This is part of my marketing budget. I'm giving you my time, and I am getting to reach a whole bunch of people who've never heard of me before. Right?
Well, and yeah, exactly. And I'll flip it. I'm hosting this podcast because you, as a guest, are content.
Yeah.
You are content for my listeners that I don't have to create. I just have to highlight you and allow you to talk about what it is that you do. Perfect example.
And as an additional thing, I will promote this podcast to all of my people.
Absolutely.
So
which is marketing for me.
Exposure. Exactly.
And both.
So
yeah.
There are other ways to do marketing than to spend tons of money on Facebook ads or, Google or what have you. And the other thing is both of us, for me, I can take the transcript of this particular conversation and look at all the email fodder I have.
Yeah.
Because this is what I talk about all the time in my emails. It's what I do. You can take all of this to your real estate and say, I was talking with this fabulous email marketer the other day, and here's stuff that applies to our industry.
Yeah.
You know?
And a lot of my clients are business owners themselves. So now I
Exactly.
have conversations to have with them, like, hey, did you know that, and I could just list some tips, just from our conversation. So yeah, I love that. Yeah, I love that we use this as an example because it's so true. I mean, content is not complicated. It's just I find that it takes the courage to just push play or to just push record.
Well, and especially with writing, I think it takes the place to start. And, because we were talking about lead generation funnels, et cetera, et cetera. My lead magnet, as it happens, is actually a list of 30 subject lines and writing prompts. Because what I find is that's what people need. They just need they need the not blank page. Yeah. They need the thing. It's like, okay, so here's a subject line. That's the writing prompt. Oh, I can totally talk about that. And then they just start typing. Or if you're averse to typing, because there are people in the world who just I can't write, you can talk.
Mm-hmm.
So again, hold up that phone, push the voice recorder and talk. Then take that transcript, smooth it out, and there's your email.
You can even take the video and put it into email form, and then you're getting face to face with your clients. I've had an immense return in getting face to face more often by doing video via email.
Right. Yeah.
Because
a lot of people do that.
That's my comfort level. But it's still it's easy for me. It takes the amount of time it takes for me to say what I want to say, and then it's captured and I can push that out.
Yeah. And if that's what you're more comfortable with, do that. There are people in the world who are like, I don't want to be in front of the camera. They're just totally camera shy. And it's like, well, I respect that, Cameras can
Those
be
are my
scary.
favorite people to get on camera, though.
I
will say, and it's such a maybe that's mean of me, but I find that I have really good conversations, and I also find that they learn that it's not as bad when I get a chance to get those people on camera.
Yeah. Well, and I think the other really big fear, honestly, is I'm going to say something stupid, whether it's on camera or it's in an email. We are all human. And I think the thing to remember with all marketing, regardless of your business, your industry, your audience, it is not business to consumer or business to business. It is person to person. We all know we screw up. We all know we're human. We have serious debates on whether or not to use the Oxford comma. There's all of that stuff that it's like, when you remember that you're dealing with another human being on the other end of that email or that video, and that's who you're talking to. You're talking to the person, because you don't want to think of them as it's like there's broadcast. Broadcast is like a television ad that's going out to hundreds of thousands or millions or whatever people. Email, direct response copywriting, which is what I was trained in, we always described it as that person who is sitting on the internet looking in their underwear or in their pajamas in the middle of the night because they can't sleep, looking for the solution to their problem. That's who you're talking to. And if you have a conversation with someone on that level, it's like, okay, how can I help? What do you need? Here's the solution. That makes the whole thing so much easier to digest in terms of your marketing as to how you would actually do it and what you would want to say. And it makes it so much more relatable for the person who's reading or watching all of it. It's not, come down to, such and such business. We've got cars. It's, okay, your car just broke down. That sucks. Here's a mechanics over here. And yes, we have cars for sale if that's what you need. There's a huge difference. And I think that people don't think about a lot of marketing as that relationship, but it really is you're not trying to steal someone's money. You're trying to help them. One of my favorite copywriters is a fellow named Nick Usborne. He was actually one of the first internet copywriters. And his motto is help, 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 sell. You always help people. You always give them something that they can use first. That's where your lead magnet comes in. You're giving something that is helping them. We like to refer to it as the small, quick win. And it's that one thing, that little thing that they can do to fix like that much of their problem. And that way,
I've seen that in so many industries too, Tanya.
Yeah.
I mean, just as like in real estate, it's hey, let me give you some tax tips. Let me give you some home maintenance tips. Let me give you an idea of where your value is on your property. Even I have a good friend that's a cabinet maker, and he's not in the business of fixing cabinets. He doesn't advertise that he does it, but he does more of that than anything because he can, and he knows that if he does that one thing and provides value, then guess what? He's building his reputation. He's making a future customer or a future referral partner.
Exactly. And then people will be like, oh, who is that guy who gave us that great information about cabinets? I wonder if he's actually available to build us some new cabinets.
And they'll only remember who he is if he's sending
those regular
emails.
Exactly. And that's just it.
Plug, Tanya. I had to do the plug.
Well done. It's true. It's absolutely true. You are literally building that relationship. And I recommend doing it at least once a week. I recommend, I send out 2 emails a week personally for my business. Mm-hmm. I know businesses that send out every single day. I know businesses that only send out once a week or send out once every other week or even once a month, but you got to do something. You've got to stay in touch.
Will come up and it'll identify itself by being in tune with the clients that you serve, right? I was interviewing a kettlebell coach, and he with daily fitness, daily emails make sense, right? And he even introduced himself. He said, "I'm an email marketer first, and then a coach second," right? Because it was that important. He knew how important it was for him to get in front of people because. Look, if you know that what you provide is valuable, it is your obligation to make sure that people know that you're there and people know how to get in contact with you so that you can provide that value.
Exactly. And here's the other thing about sending something on a regular basis. Not everyone is going to read every single email. My mother is on my email list, and she doesn't read every single email I send. But she reads them every once in a while. I know she does because she responds.
I'm pretty sure mine are filtered for my mom. I think I'm probably already in the spam.
Already in the spam folder. But if you think about it, you don't need to reach that person every single day, but you need them to open the email they need to see. So maybe they don't open the, going back to your kettlebell expert, the one that says something like, 5 arm lifts to make your arms look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. But maybe they look at the one that says how to keep your legs as, strong and healthy so you maintain your balance throughout life.
And they raise their hand, right? I mean, that's the point is, your clients tell you what they need and what's valuable to them. And man, the data you can get from seeing the click rates and the open rates. And so, this product is more valuable or at least more opened. And then you even go further down. It's like, well, all of these are open, but they don't actually turn into buyers. And so maybe I need to change my strategy, right? And we didn't even get into that. We don't even have time to get into all of the analytics of that because, I know that's a huge part of what you do as well.
Oh, yeah. It's a huge thing.
That's huge. That's huge.
It is. And regarding clicks, this is something really, really important. Every single email you send should have some sort of call to action and a link that people can click. And I know people are like, oh, but I'm scared of that. What if people don't want to click? Well, then they won't click. It's okay. But the reason you do that is, and it doesn't matter if it's going to a blog post or a podcast or an article about your company or an appointment scheduler or your sales page. You do that because you are training people to want to click on your links, which will get
And
you
that can be
more.
as simple as putting it in your signature.
Mm-hmm. Putting in your signature, putting the button there on your page, read the blog post now. Of my 2 emails, once a week, everyone is a blog post. I send them to one of my various and sundry blog posts. And then one is information that I only give to my email list. So being on my email list has its benefits. And you just get, some bit of information. And then at the end of that, I have a link to whatever product it is that I'm promoting with that particular email. It's not a, you must buy this now. It's a, and here is this thing. So it's not about always making the sale. It's about helping people realize that this is the thing that's going to help them when they reach that point. The wonderful thing about email marketing is it's not unlike, say, social media and Facebook ads, et cetera, where it's that immediate thing and you're trying to get as many people as possible to buy right then. It's like a constant stream of people coming into your business. So when you have that email address, the reason you nurture that person is so that when they're ready, they come to you as opposed to your competitors. And that way you've got, maybe as a real estate agent, you've had a really full month in January, but suddenly February, you don't have anybody. You've got these 4 houses you need to sell, but no one's knocking going, hey, I'm interested in that house.
That's a pretty normal February, by the way.
Yeah, I bet it is. I grew up in the Midwest. I know what moving in the winter is like.
Oh, yeah.
But when you have the email going out every week saying, here are the new houses, here's why it's worth thinking about moving in February, that means that someone's going to open that email and go, oh, that's a really cute house. Honey, we've been talking about moving,
Yeah. Or here's what's going on in the neighborhood. And they're like, wait, they're asking how much for that? That's ours is nicer than theirs. I've been in that kitchen. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the beauty of what you just summarized there, Tanya, is email goes to work even when you don't.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Exactly.
And I'll speak to this from anyone that's a sales-based industry, especially if you have a longer sales cycle. We call it the real estate roller coaster. Really, it's the business roller coaster. You're up and down and up and down and up and down. And the reason being is you take in all this business. Now you have to service it. And then what happens when you service it? Well, if your marketing and your communication with your clients is only when you're voice to voice or text to text or face to face, yes, those are high value, high impact conversations. But if that's what all of it is, then as soon as you're servicing all your clients, guess what you're not doing? You're not generating new conversations. You're not generating new business. And so then you have the down and you go, oh no, I'm out of business if I don't get something going. And then it ramps back up because all you do is lead generate. You have conversations, you make more phone calls, you send more text, you have more coffee appointments. But email is your constant if you build it right.
Exactly. Yeah. A friend of mine used to call that particular cycle chicken and feathers. Sometimes you eat chicken, sometimes you eat feathers.
I love that. I've eaten plenty of feathers. I've eaten plenty of feathers.
And as small business owners, we all have. We've all had those months where you're just like, I have no earthly idea how I'm going to pay the bills. And then suddenly you get a client. Well, if you have an email marketing system in place that's actually working, you don't have to worry about that. You know that you have someone who's reading those emails who is ready to go. I'm ready. I'm going to buy the program. I'm ready to buy a house, or I'm ready to sell a house, or I'm ready to talk to you about whatever service it is that you offer. Because you've been nurturing that relationship. You've been building it so that when they are ready to pull the trigger, you are the person they turn to. That's really what nurturing is all about.
Well, Tanya, I so appreciate the conversation. I know that there's been an immense amount of value, and we didn't even hit all the topics that we had planned on maybe hitting, which is usually how this goes, right? But I know you have more to say, and you're probably pretty good at writing content and copywriting emails and blogs to tell people, your thoughts. So what's the best way for our listeners to get a hold of you and kind of follow you if they enjoyed our conversation today?
Well, the simplest place to find me is at TanyaBrodyCopywriter.com, all one word. That is my website. And you can download my lead magnet, get those 30 writing, subject lines and writing prompts to help you get every email person opening and reading your emails, which is what we all want. And you can read my blog posts about all of this stuff. You can find out what it is that I do, and I would love to have you over there. So please come join me there. I am, of course, on Facebook. Again, Tanya Brody, copywriter. I'm on LinkedIn. I think I'm on Instagram as well. But obviously, I want to be able to email you because that's what I do. So
yeah. Love it. Love it. Thank you so much. And look, for those of you that are listening that enjoyed the conversation with Tanya, I encourage you to reach out. If you enjoyed this show, make sure you do all the podcast stuff. You guys have heard my spiel before. Like us, review us, send me a note if there's some content you love, or if you have feedback, I'm open to that too. And if you like this show, chances are you'll like our full Small Business Delivered network. You can check us out at smallbusinessdelivered.com. And as always, as a reminder, this podcast is proudly produced and sponsored by Titan Media Works. They do all things podcast production. If you want a show, or if you have a show and you're wanting to not have to do all the things and you just want to show up and have great conversations like the one I've had with Tanya, they can do all of that for you, and they can even book you on other shows if you're wanting to be a guest and promote your service or product. So make sure that you guys check us out and keep that entrepreneurial spirit alive, as I know all of you do. So until next time, remember that every business, no matter how small, has a huge story to tell. Thanks for tuning in.